Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast. We are continuing with our sponsor feature series today. And today, we have Beth McCleary Walford from Superpower Strategies. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Good. So we're going to be talking about the difference between BNI one-to-ones and sales calls, sales discovery calls, that kind of thing, because that's Beth's specialty. This episode of the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast is made possible by Superpower Strategies and Beth McCleary Walford, helping businesses increase revenue by showing them how to find the right clients, connect with them, and love on them real good. An ideal referral would be a business owner with 0 to 10 sales staff who's frustrated by stagnant growth. Find out how Superpower Strategies and Beth can help you out by scheduling a free consultation. Just go to superpowerstrategies.com, which is linked in the show notes below. But before we jump into that conversation, Beth, can you tell us a little bit about your business and what you offer?
Well, I'm a sales nerd, Michael.
Okay.
We'll just get that out on the table. So what that means is that I'm all things sales. I work with businesses here in the Chattanooga marketplace to drive sales revenue. And the way I do that is I assess what they're currently doing. I help them find the missing pieces in their process or their customer journey. We figure out how to put those pieces in there into the puzzle. We implement the process, and then I coach them. Some people would say accountability. I hold them accountable to continuing to use the process. Because as human beings, we're always going to go back to what was comfortable as opposed to moving forward with what will help work. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that explains why you're so involved in BNI, working with small businesses and entrepreneurs. That's your sweet spot, right?
It is the thrill of my life, actually. And they do as much for me as I hope I do for them. So Cool. So, speaking of, I think a lot of times either new BNI members or people who are maybe hesitant about joining BNI think of the one-to-ones as like a sales meeting or something like that. I know I've heard the phrase that you shouldn't be selling to your chapter, you should be selling through your chapter. Right.
So can you help us kind of walk through the difference between like what is a one-to-one, what is a sales call, how should I approach things differently?
Okay, well that's a great question. So let's think in sales, there are different kinds of sales calls. And you, in the beginning, will call the first appointment when you sit down with someone to learn about their business, because that's what you should be doing as a salesperson. Let's call that a discovery call.
Okay.
And in that discovery call, it's two-sided. The prospective client is learning about you and the products that you have, the company you're representing, but also you're learning about them. So there's a great deal of questions. And as a salesperson, there's certain things that you need to know before you leave there. Now, you're not going to play 20 questions. You do it conversationally, of course. Yeah. And then based off of that, it tells you whether you come back for a proposal or you shake hands and say, it's been great to meet you. I don't know that we're a really good fit. And that happens both ways. So that's the sales call. So if we think about discovery sales calls, a BNI one-to-one is just about like that. Because the goal is for you each other to learn about each other.
To learn to see what needs the other person has.
Exactly.
Those kinds of things. Yeah.
And if there's some great tools within BNI for that first call. And I would challenge anyone who's a member of BNI, if you take that one-to-one form and you take it to a discovery call, it'll help you immensely to figure out whether you're a fit with that client or not. But there's a lot of similarities to that.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to be selling your company? No, but in a discovery call, you really shouldn't sell your company.
Sure.
Or I don't believe it. Yeah. I don't believe you should. I believe you should give a brief overview of what you do, why people come to you, or why people use your services, and then spend most of the time listening and having your prospective client tell you what it is that they want to accomplish, what their challenges are,
Nice.
what their problems are. And so you can help them find a solution for that.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
and if you really think about it, in a one-to-one, you do that too.
Yeah.
So I remember I did a one-to-one with someone, and I was asking them questions about what they did and how they did, and the person stopped me and went, whoa, 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 I'm not used to this. I said, what are you talking about? He says, we've just spent 30 minutes of you asking me questions and learning about me. I don't ever do this. And I said, well, that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
They said, well, I don't know. I don't think I've ever had this happen before. And I said, well, you can ask me a question anytime. But that's my goal, is to get the other people to talk as much as I can, so that I can learn really what it is they're trying to do.
Nice. Okay, so I'm sure that there's, what you said you're a sales nerd, so I'm sure we could do a whole series on all this. But I want to know a little bit more about some of the different kinds of sales calls that you talked about. Like what's out there? What exists?
Well, you can do, let's think, we've got discovery.
Okay.
And then in corporate America, generally decisions are made by committee, right?
Sure.
I mean, they really are.
Yeah.
And so you also have discovery calls with the other people in the committee. So if you've ever had to go into a room, that in a conference room, and you're surrounded by people and you've only met one of the people in the room, that's the most unbelievable. I mean, my heart sinks to my feet, because I go, I don't know these people, and I don't know what motivates them, and I don't know why they're a part of this decision-making process.
Yeah.
What's their motivation? What is it? What is it they're looking for? And so discovery is not just with who signs the paperwork. Sometimes discovery is learning about the influencers and the other people that influence the decision.
Yeah.
Because you'll have champions, you'll have influencers, which are the end users of your product, and which can be the ones that shut something down quicker than anything.
Yeah.
So we've got discovery. Then based off of that, you hope that you've gotten all the information you need, right?
Sure.
Well, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get back because you didn't have a checklist. And I'm all about an appointment checklist. What is it I need? But even then, sometimes you don't get all the answers. So I call those follow-ups. I mean, action steps, because you never leave a meeting without a next step.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be, if you're selling an actual physical product, let's say it's technology of some sort.
Sure.
There's additional discovery that has to be done to make sure that it works. You can make it work. I call those antenna dances, where you get all techie and you have to figure that out. Not my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
But hey, it does have to be done. So you have those follow-ups. You have a proposal, because ultimately the purpose of this whole thing is to get a proposal in front of someone.
Yeah.
After the proposal, generally there can be next steps to that, which can be part negotiation. It can be understanding the terms and conditions of an agreement. So you can that could be legal. That could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then the one that we all love, which is the close, right?
Yeah.
The close. And what's neat, if we think about, you've got all those different kinds of sales calls. Where does B&I, if you get a referral, where does that sit? Where is it in that process? And the reality is it's at the beginning, because what they do, being a member of B&I gets you a warm introduction to someone, but you still have to do the work. Mm-hmm. And you still have to build the trust. It's just your friends have gotten you in. Your friends and sales people, they got us in the door.
You got to do the rest.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then after that, then you've got I call them customer retention calls, but really the goal is to sell more to them. If a client has 3 products, they're sticky. It's really hard for them to leave.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, think about your personal insurance. You probably have your car insurance and your home insurance and your, I'm sure there's another one. Help me with the
life
third.
Insurance.
Life insurance.
Yeah.
There we go. You have all 3 of them with the same person. If not, hey, if you've got Michael's insurance, you need to call him because he needs 3. He needs all 3. But yeah, so because it becomes very difficult to leave.
Yeah. Okay, so Beth, I know that you do some special offers for BNI members specifically, and that's part of how I got to know you is that I did one of your one-to-one kind of workshop thing. Actually, not BNI one-to-one, but the ones that you offered. So, do you want to talk about what those are, how people can learn from you?
It's my way of giving back. We talk about giver's gain. This is my way of giving. I offer to BNI members either an 8 points. It takes 8 touches to get someone's attention. So I help BNI members figure out what their 18 touches are. We build a plan to start moving in that direction, which sometimes, as you know, Michael, works into what's your forecast and what's your pipeline look like.
Yeah.
The other, I can do what I call a really basic assessment. It's not my full-blown one,
Sure.
but it's a very basic assessment of your customer journey and your sales process and give you some what I call golden nuggets that you can go and run with. And then I'm really excited about December the 9th because on December the 9th, I am doing the first of 2 workshops. And the first step is figuring out what is your goals for 20. I can't even get it out of my mouth. 2025.
Yeah.
What are your goals? And so we're going to create our goals and at the end of it's a 3-hour workshop, and you'll have an accountability partner, and you're going to be ready to rock and roll for 2025.
Awesome.
And that's followed up by, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's okay if you're not.
Okay.
Vision board creation.
Yeah.
So we last year we did a version, and I thought, you know what? If I can do the goal setting first, it makes creating that vision board even more cool. Because you've zoned in and figured out what it is you really want. And so we're going to do a vision board creation workshop too.
Cool.
Where you get a canvas, you have access to paint and stickers and a color printer. I'm a cheater. I do it with the color printer. I don't go to magazines. If you want magazines, that's fine. But that will be, I can't remember the date now. But we'll give you the
We'll
link.
link it. Yeah, we'll link it in the
But
show
yeah,
notes.
you don't have to do the goal setting workshop to do the vision board creation. You're just going to have to do a lot more pre-work before you get there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Cool.
It's complimentary to BNI members and their guests. They're welcome to bring someone if they would like to do so.
Awesome. And so where do people go to register for that?
There's a link. I'm actually created it in Zoom events because it's easy and I'm a cheater.
Okay, but it's not on Zoom.
It's not on Zoom. It's an in-person workshop, but it just is a great way for me to facilitate it. So there's a link there. They can register.
Okay.
I expect this week in the things you should know, there to be a link as well because BNI is standing behind me and cheering me on and saying, let's do this.
Yeah.
And actually provided a space for me. So I appreciate that very much.
Cool.
So,
yeah, cool. Well, that sounds very exciting.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Beth, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, it was my pleasure. Anytime.
Awesome. This podcast is produced by Chattanooga Podcast Studios, helping businesses and organizations make a deeper connection with their audience through the art of podcasting. An ideal referral for me would be a professional organization with a state or national presence. You can get in touch with me, Michael Crosa, by going to chatpod.com. That's chat with 2 T's, like Chattanooga, which is linked in the show notes below. Well, thank you so much for listening to the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast. If you want to learn more about Beth and Superpower Strategies, we'll make sure to put a link in the show notes below. My name is Michael Crosa. I'm with Chattanooga Podcast Studios. We are here recording in wavelength space. So if you like the show, be sure to subscribe, link it to your friends, talk to your chapter about it. This does count as CEUs. And Beth, we end every episode with a dad joke.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay. What did the mother buffalo say when she was dropping her kid off at school?
I don't know. What?
Bye, son. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.